correspondents, but there's more reporting by others that get into the American press, because then we have to rely much more. Everybody in the world, for example, relied on Al Jazeera during the Gaza war. The only feeds you got were Al Jazeera feeds, and they were incredibly important. And they made it into America, not as much as they did in Western Europe, but they made it into American news broadcasts, more than they would have, let's say, 5 years ago. So it cuts two ways. The reporters are better. There's fewer of them. If you're talking about the long-held American notion, like the British always use the word fuzzy wuzzies to describe the Arabs, the notion that somehow we can decide the fate of Pakistan, for example, right now. You know, we had this incredible carnival that took place with Zadawi and Karzai and my president that had as much to do with good government as a kindergarten class. You know, we have spectacles, and we still live with those spectacles, and there's not enough critical reporting about that. And there's still an American notion that we know what's best for you and for the rest of the world. That's very much an American notion. Obama, I think, actually talks to that. He actually is reducing the notion that we are, you know, that it's just, I wish somehow his actions in Afghanistan and elsewhere equaled what he was saying publicly. But the change in voice is very important, and it's also his first year. He's only been in office, what, 4 months, not quite 4 months. So we have to give him time. He still has to worry about the economic problems. He has inherited a terrible war, two terrible, stupid wars, and he's got to figure a way out of both of them. I just don't know if getting in deeper is the way out. But your question is a valid one. I mean, there's always going to be a sense that we know what's best for you. I mean, I'm sure you recognize that. And if we can diminish that, it would be great, because we don't know what's best for you.
Okay, I have a question here.
Hello. Hi, Seymour. Thanks for coming to Dubai. I'm Ashraf from Gulf News here in Dubai. I wanted to talk to you about investigative journalism here and also in the Arab world. There are many journalists like myself who are committed to our work, but many of us feel that perhaps it is the first step to improving journalism in this region is for governments to stop fining and arresting journalists from trying to get stories. I mean, the will is here, but perhaps the first step should come from the establishment. I just wondered what your thought was.
I think you'll find investigative journalists, we're like the dead rat that was brought to the party. Nobody likes us. Nobody likes us. I'm already in trouble with the Obama administration because of something. You know, I'm not getting my calls. You know, around the world, you'll find that we're not very popular. Those who like to talk about things, getting arrested is one thing. In America, that doesn't happen. You know, you get ignored or you get other ways, but it's very tough for me to advocate doing things that get you arrested. But if you don't do what you do, you don't change. I think Egypt's an interesting model for me, because there's such a desire to change what's going on. At the same time, you have my president, for example, going to Egypt to kiss and bow and scrape the leadership's their feet. And that doesn't do much for human rights. Human rights always get suffered, always suffer. But what do you want me to say? Do you want me to, tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what hole you want me to dig for myself here. I guess another way of putting it, you must think I'm into self-immolation. Yeah, but no, go have a mic. Go say it. I'm interested in what can I say to make it easier for you?
No,
tell the government not to arrest you.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the will of. I'm not talking about foreign journalists in the Arab world. I'm talking about Arab journalists like myself, who are from here. We are dying to write these stories. We want to write these stories, but the fact is we're blocked at every turn. And that is stopping us from carrying out our work.
If I may, Seymour, I just want to also comment that it's very important to highlight that the Arab world is not a monolith. If you go and look at the state of media and journalism in each Arab country, you'll find that it varies. So whereas somebody said we don't talk about corruption or we're fined, we can't write anything, I don't think it's fair to make it sound like the state of media in the Arab world is, there's one type of media. We have seen evolution, and there's definitely room for improvement. I'm gonna.
But let me just say this in general. There's no question that the leaderships of the Arab world have to understand that there is going to be more criticism. It's just there. It's just there. You're not going to stop it. It's going to happen. It's going to be there because there's a medium. No matter how I'm speaking generically. No matter how much you want to control it, there's a whole new gestalt out there. There's a whole new system out there that's going to be pushing. So I think that's all to the good. And I've never been in a situation where there's time when the government was telling me that, but in America it is better. I mean, there's always recourse, but that's, you do what you have to do, my friend. And you are the guy that came to the party that nobody wanted. And that's just the way it's going to be. And that doesn't mean you stop doing it, but it's hard for me to advocate doing something that gets people in jail. I felt bad in Egypt because Mohammed Heikel brought me together with these people, and I was basically encouraging them to do things that could put them in direct conflict with the state. And that's a complicated thing to do. But the fact that even a conference like that takes place, or a conference like this takes place, and somebody like me is here and somebody like you is there, is all positive. And you can't look at it as any way but positive. But that's not a complete answer because I'm just not going to be as rude as you want me to be.
شكرا جزيلا. My name is Hassaluta and I apologize for you. I would like to speak in Arabic.
Oh, please. Hold on.
Out of respect to my country and to my own language. First of all, العفو اسمحي لي نجلة، أنا حبيت أعلق قليلا على كلمة ذكرتيها متعلقة بالحقيقة، والمشتغلين بشؤون الإعلام يعرفون أنه لا توجد حقيقة في المسألة. هناك حقائق عدة وأحيانا الإعلام يعني يحاول يكشف بعضها. سؤالي للسيد هرش، مع تقديري لكل الأدوار اللي لعبتها في الشرق الأوسط، يعني تكلمت كثيرا عن إمكانية يعني a lot of optimism you have for new medias or internet وكل هذه المسائل. الآن نحن يعني بقدر ما نرى تعددية في وسائل الإعلام والإنترنت وأشياء كثيرة، إلا أن أيضا بقدر ما نرى أن level of surveillance بعد يرتفع أزيد مما كان. يعني حجم المعلومات يبدو أكثر منظم وموجه وإلى آخره. السؤال هو يعني إلى أي مدى ممكن أن الواحد يعول على كمية الحقائق اللي ممكن تصل للبشر في إيقاف مثلا حروب جديدة. الآن نحن يعني ندرك أن توجهات أوباما الحرب في أفغانستان، وهذه أيضا لها خطورتها في أنها يعني بجانب المعاناة الإنسانية الجسدية المباشرة وآثار الحروب، هناك أيضا اتساع رقعة الفقر سواء كانت في باكستان أو أفغانستان، الضرر اللي بيحصل على الدول العربية، هناك أيضا النغمة اللي أحيانا ترتفع أو تنزل فيما يتعلق بتهديد إيران، الموقف من قضية فلسطين. كثير من المسائل تخلينا نشعر أحيانا أن يعني بغض النظر عن وصول المعلومات، إلا أن هذه المعلومات وصولها إلى الإنسان لا يغير من حقيقة الحروب شيء. شكرا.
Well, I'm going to assume the translation your question was complicated. I'm going to assume the translation got it accurately.
Thank you. I'll explain it to you in English.
Just quickly.
Okay. We do assume that there is more information now in regard to what has happened, the real happening, be it wars or anything else. But now what we see in reality, for example, what's going to happen or happening in Afghanistan, the threat sometimes in the Iranian situation.